Hey everyone, welcome to my show. Be sure to hit like, follow, and subscribe on YouTube and Twitch for all my exclusive content. Good evening and happy Tuesday. And why is my camera not working? Why is my camera not working? Okay. Huh. I'm too beautiful for the camera? Yeah, you gotta love it when, you know, you don't change anything. Everything is exactly the same as it's been for weeks, months. And then, just one day, it just decides, hey, there we go. Yeah, no, it just decides it's going to change up some stuff. Awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Gotta love UBS. Got to love it. All right, but I think we got that sorted out. So, good evening, Olympus, Mr. Belair, Barkman, Lord Hollywood, Dean Smash. Welcome on in, everybody. Barkman, you hope all the streamers I visited today come visit me. Well, that'd be nice if they stopped by. I was certainly making the rounds today. It's ARC launch day, right? Everybody's excited. Everybody's got new content and stuff they want to talk about. Plus, there's just lots of things going on, and a lot of people had questions about stuff. So it's either, hey, maybe I can learn some stuff too, because, nobody gave me a script or a manual to all this new stuff. I got to kind of figure out what's going on here. And maybe I can help some people figure out some of the stuff they've learned. Or maybe they can teach me some stuff. So, Belair, you're raiding trillions of resources because a friend of yours who's a whale is leaving the game. Well, sad to see them go, of course, but happy for you that they're, giving you some resources. If only you had that new amalgam skin, you'd be raiding 30% faster. Yeah, what's a 30% bonus on less than 1%? Let's see, what do we got here? 0.083. 0.083 times 1.3, giving it a 30% increase, gets it to 0.1079. Ooh. Now, granted, when someone has that kind of, ability, it does, or that much in resources, it does magnify everything. But don't get confused. They're not adding an additional 30%. It's 30.83%. No. Whatever your ability is getting a 30% increase to it. That's what that refit skin is doing. So while the amalgam is still awesome, it is still going to be a very time-consuming process when you have people who have resources of that size. So, yeah, hey Lloydson, welcome on into you as well. How's everyone doing on this terrible ARC launch day? You think it's terrible so far? I don't know that it's been, I'd call it terrible. Obviously, there's some interesting things going on, some things that, we hoped wouldn't happen, some things that have happened that seem like they're positives. And we are going to try and go through as much as possible. Hey, we got this new help little banner that pops up now. That's new feature number 1. Other new features that we got added that we didn't know were coming. Did you know if you go in your diplomacy and you go now here, you have new statuses? We had allied, we had friendly, we had enemy. I feel like were the 3 main statuses that we had. And now they gave us civil, neutral, caution, and unfriendly. To play with. That's going to be up to everybody's individual alliances, I guess, in terms of what each of these little in-between statuses might mean. Enemy is definitely like a kill on sight kind of thing. Unfriendly is like, hey, look out, but still keep it within ROE kind of thing. Caution is like, these people, like, they follow everything within ROE, but, like, you know, they'll hit your miner coming back to base. Be interesting to see where some of those tags get applied and how. So, Olympus thinks it's not terrible content. Barkman thinks it is terrible content. Okay. You've been giving a thumbs down as much as you could with your new emote. Yeah, that's a thing too. That's obviously an event that's going on. That's one of those features, what we saw on the roadmap. We were like, why? What is this for? And even when, I was chatting with some other streamers earlier, like Highlanders and I were talking about this on his stream for a minute. It was like, the emotes and things like that certainly would be things that would appeal to a younger demographic. The average player in Star Trek Fleet Command feels like they're 35 plus. Like you're at least age 35 and over for the most part if you're playing this game. Obviously, there's some younger people who play it and whatnot. And maybe this is an attempt to try and, add some other things to, make the game more interesting for the younger generation. But at the price point you guys charge for everything, the younger generation really can't afford to play this game, is what it really comes down to. When everything in the game is $99 and ships cost $600 or $1,000 or $1,500, if you want to buy the ship outright, and the number of packs you need to spend to upgrade things, people are spending 10, 20, 30 grand a pop. I mean, you'd think the younger generation living in mom's basement still with all this disposable income, but they're also the ones who are the first to tell you that, like, oh, I can't find a job and I'm buried by student loan debt and I can't afford to pay these things. So they don't have the extra money that you would need for Scopely. They're also kind of the in-between generation. They're the generation who, Star Trek wasn't on TV really after the early 2000s. There's like a 20-year gap between like Voyager and Discovery. So there's that whole group of people right in there, right in that wheelhouse, who didn't really watch like Voyager and Enterprise and things like that in the late 90s, early 2000s because they were, really small and didn't quite get what was going on. And then now they're in their mid to late 20s, and we're just starting to get, Discovery and Strange New Worlds and stuff back on TV. So maybe they had a movie or two in there, with the Chris Pine, the Zachary Quinto reboots. But there's also a bit of a generation gap. And I don't know, again, if that's a demographic they think this emote thing is kind of going to make the game more interesting for. But it seems very out of place. So, Olympus, you think it's really funny to cloak, run up next to someone, emote, and then blow them up? I did notice that you can emote while you are cloaked, and it totally gives away your position that you're there. But usually it's at the point in time where nobody can do about it anything, right? You're cloaking and you're doing it because they're right there next to you. Um, Also, for those of you who are like, this emote thing is stupid, you can go into your settings and turn it off. Right here in general. Yeah, right there. Here's my player ID. Don't do anything with it. But you got this hailing frequencies button right here. You could just turn it off. And then you'll stop seeing them. I don't know. Maybe that might help lag or server performance too if less people are doing it. But there's obviously an event. We got a new feature. We got to have an event for it, right? So there is an event for it. That's this hailing frequencies open one, which requires you to use a hailing frequency and get some points for it. Any common one, which is the ones that they give you, is worth 1 point. Uncommon hailing frequencies score 2 points. Now, the new one that they gave out today for free on the web store, which is the Spock Live Long and Prosper, which I can't do because this finger doesn't go over far enough. There, that one, is worth 2 points. So that'll cut your emote time in half. And if you were able to purchase any of these other ones, you would get it done even sooner. But for those of you Not familiar. If you go to the web store, which I think I'm still logged in. Hey, look, I am still logged in. Nope. Whose stream are we watching right now? Oh, Icy is offline. Well, that's great. I'm glad that we're showing somebody who's offline. That's awesome. Go to web store. And if you go to your web gifts, it would show up right here. Also, the officer, the daily epic shard, is back for this month, so you can also go in there and claim that. But there's also the live long and prosper emote, so you can go claim that. That will give you that for free as well, and that is worth 2 points, so you can finish your event even faster. Just turned it off. There you go. Turn it off. Be like, I'm done with this. I finished my event. Let them track that. How many people tomorrow, after this event is over, how many people have that setting switched off? And just be like, see, we didn't ask for this. Nobody ever said we wanted this. And you didn't even give us emotes that, like, you gave us thumbs up, thumbs down. So great, I can give everybody a thumbs down. When what you really want to give them is a middle finger up half the time for hitting your minor or something like that. But they're not going to put any of those in the game because those are offensive. So they're going to keep it with just some real basic, generic type stuff that, I don't know. I'm going to pull a number out of the air and I'm going to say 75% of the player base won't use once the events are gone. People in your server were being cute with it. When someone gets to a probe before you, thumbs down. Sure. Emote thing seems like something they had an intern work on. He said, hey, let's put it in the game. Yeah, could be that too. So that's certainly been a little disappointing about things. Hailing frequencies closed over here. This is the PvP event we had going on. So there were 2 systems, although I play on 3 different servers, right? I have accounts on 3 different servers. On all 3 servers, everybody went to Risa. And I don't know if that's the same for you guys. Is everybody doing all their PvP in Risa? Like, Maluria is the system next to it. So it's not like you had to travel that much further to get there. But it seems like everybody and their mother is doing all of their PvP up here in Risa. And you see, that's PvP. There's the whole big battle going on. Everybody's right there. But Maluria's right here, and for people coming from territory, Maluria is technically closer. All the people based in Maluria, it's a shorter flight path. But there's nobody here. Risa has the name recognition. Yeah, I mean, people have heard of that one, right? Risa, the pleasure planet, they're all fighting over it. Maluria, that sounds like malaria, right? What's going on there? I don't want to go to get malaria. I'm staying out of there. Middle finger would have been great for the level 49 guy running Curon to beat everyone to the apex in the level 35 system, so you can be sure he knows you were the one who stung him. Yeah, I don't think we're going to get any emotes like that. I know some people were complaining, like, how do we not have, like, a plant emote, right? Because, this has been an arc for several months, or in planning for several months. How did Beck not get her input in on that to get some type of plant emote? But maybe that'll be in the Phase 2 release. While we're thinking about that, let's do my refineries, because I haven't done these yet this evening. Then we'll talk about the fleet commander changes. Although I will encourage you right now not to spend. They made some changes to fleet commanders. They unlocked some more stuff. But we do have events this month on the calendar. Again, spending materials on skills and traits and stuff. So as tempting as it may seem, now would not be a good time to go buy things. While we're also talking about the calendar, I noticed a couple of events this month that do revolve around Ultra Recruit tokens as well. So make sure you're saving your Ultra recruits, because we're going to have those this month. But Fleet Commanders, they got some changes too. This month there's a lot of little things going on this month. It's not so much like the big storyline. It's kind of like it's almost like a catch-up month. It's like, hey, we're rounding out a bunch of things. I mean, we're giving you like a new content and a new feature with the new Borg ship and that kind of stuff. But we're also kind of going back and rounding out a few things. And Fleet Commanders being one of them, based on feedback and stuff like that they got from people. They went back into the skill tree and they took out all of the extra keys, those quantum keys. So now, say for example, Kirk here, like normally you had to pick, do I want impulse speed or do I want warp speed? Well, now you don't have to pick anymore. Now you can learn both for free without buying anything else. You can only have one of the two skills active, and much like Fleet Commanders, there's a 6-hour cooldown between changing them. The same way you would have a 6-hour cooldown if you're swapping out Kirk for Spock or Locutus. Same thing if you're changing from warp speed to impulse speed. But you now can learn all of the skills in the particular level. So like right here, this level here was doing increased damage against a particular hostile. You had Federation, Klingon, and Romulan. I was grinding Klingon XP. I dumped my stuff into Romulan. But, if I'm going to change that later, now I have the ability to. So now I can do higher damage to higher hostiles depending on what I'm hunting that day. Particularly good if you're doing an event like Faction Hunt. You could switch on what you want, go kill the thing. It's a 6-hour cooldown, so you have to wait 6 hours before switching it to the other one. But you could flip-flop at least between one or two of them to get a bonus to make your faction hunting go a little faster, or just your faction grinding go a little faster. So, another big change. But like I said, don't start filling these in yet, because there are events later this month to spend both the skill XP and the officer XP to level up the officers and stuff. So don't spend any of that stuff just yet. In 7 days, we get the second half of the BPs for the Talios. Yes, that's the other thing. It'll be the same day you're unlocking the Defiant. So yeah, so the Defiant, I think, was right around the 12th, 13th, if you were free to play and you were able to get a blueprint every single day. That's kind of where the free-to-play path was going to be, was very close to Valentine's Day. So you'll have 2 ships on the same day. Awesome. But as long as you guys are talking about it, we'll roll into this Talios event here. Yeah, so you've got, build the Talios, which only has a 6-day timer on it. So the only way to get this is to buy the other half of the ship. If you do that, you get this avatar, as well as 125,000 charged nanoprobes. Now, it takes like 300,000 charged nanoprobes to tier the ship up from tier 1 to tier 2. It uses the same nanoprobes the Vidar did, same currency, just larger quantities. So going from tier 1 to tier 2 takes about 300k. They give you less than half of it for buying the ship early, but you do get the extra refineries and stuff, which you can't see until you actually have the ship, so I can't show you that, but some of you guys might already have that. There's also a solo leaderboard event for spending charged nanoprobes. You can do it for upgrading the Vidar, the Talios, or Talios research to score in the event. Scoring in the event just gives you more of these assimilation store credits, which we'll talk about. But obviously some people have been spending some nanoprobes here. Looks like these are people who very likely bought the Talios and then probably some other packs, because these are some level 59s and 60s. So I'm sure they've upgraded their Talios several tiers already. They have a pack with all 100 BPs for the Talios for some reason. They do, because the only way you can get the mission to get the 50 blueprints for free is if you have a tier 9 Vidar. You have to be Ops level 35, and you have to have a tier 9 Vidar. So if you are still your Vidar is only tier 7 or tier 8 because you just never felt the need to take it the rest of the way, and you don't want to spend the next week or month or whatever grinding it out to get it the rest of the way there, you could just buy the whole ship for $100 and be done with it. That's available in the store over here. You've got 2 packs to choose from. You've got the full unlock for $100. You get 100 blueprints. You also get the prime. You get a little bit of resources here to go with it, which you don't really need to upgrade it, and multiphasics and latinum. The other half of it, if you were Ops 35 and you do have a tier 9 Vidar, you can go to the holodeck. You can get the mission. It's a very short mission chain. Only requires, like, you kill 2 500,000 strength ships and do 1 or 2 movements between systems, and then you get the 50 blueprints unlocked. If you don't want to wait the week and you want to complete the other event and get a head start on gaining all this extra refinery stuff, you can spend $50 right here, get the other half of it. You also get this prime particle, which is used to research this vinculum scrapper thing. From what I understand, once you build the Talios, you should get the ability to get this. So again, or at least the second half of the mission that gives you the 50 blueprints may also give you this. That's what people have been saying. So if you wait a week, you'll still get the Talios, and you will still get the prime to unlock that scrapping mechanism without having to buy it, because there's no other way to get it. And it'd be really kind of weird if that was the case. Oh, we do have the assimilated amalgam refit is now here in the store. You also get some base cracking officers to go with it, as well as a full refit. But the mission itself, yes, you can claim it in the holodeck. It will be, well, hang on a second. I'll bring up my other account because I didn't claim it there yet. And just in case anybody didn't see it, we'll show you what's going on there. But it is the free one. There should be like 4 or 5 different ones in the holodeck. They all require the diodes, except for this particular one, which does not. Let's take the short bus home. Now that we're full, don't want to risk dying. All right. So if you go to your missions, and we go to our holodeck, you have 4 or 5, there's 5. There might actually be another one for 60 plus, for Ops 50 plus. I think there's an extra holodeck mission this month. But this one right here, they have adapted part 1. It's free. You just hit the claim button. Hey, it's free. Yay, I got it. When you finish this stage, you get 50 blueprints. Next week, next Tuesday, there will be a new mission added. That'll be the next part of it. That will also be here on the holodeck. And again, you'll claim that. That mission will only appear, the one we just clicked on, if you are Ops 35 and have a Tier 9 Vidar. If you don't have a Tier 9 Vidar, you cannot get that now. However, this should be the permanent sourcing for it. So when you do eventually get to Ops 35 and have at least a Tier 9 Vidar, or have a Tier 9 Vidar and are at least Ops 35, that's probably the way to say it, that mission will then spawn here, and you can go in and claim it, and then take the steps to go get your Talios. Now this particular doctor here is going to send you on a very short mission chain. Like I said, both things you have to kill on it are about 500,000 strength. So just take something that's capable of killing stuff. It will also lead you to where the new Borg systems are as part of that chain. So your first mission will send you here, you'll do something over there, then it will send you to where the new Borg systems are, which is over here to the west of Augment Space. You have Adola and you have Retha, which are your two hub systems, and then behind it are a whole bunch of transwarp gateways. They still use the same cells that you have been using, the same transwarp cells that you get 2 a day of. These systems use the same exact things. We'll take a peek inside because I did map out the 36 one earlier because I was in there killing stuff, which a lot of other people are. And just for comparison's sake, you can see, hey, level 36 Borg probes. These are 23 million strength. About 8,500 nanoprobes is what they drop. And if you scan one of them, then we can see that their damage per round is about 6 million. By comparison, if we go look at an actual level 33 regular Borg probe, these guys are 7 million strength, so they're about a third of the strength. They drop close to 4,000, so about half of what you're getting normally. And their DPR is also about half. So they do twice the damage, give twice the reward, although they do have about 3 times the overall strength. And for those of you curious, I did take my Vidar there earlier, my regular Tier 9 Vidar with my Strange New Worlds crew aboard. We went out there, we went to the 36 system. I killed 26 hostiles before I blew up. It was good enough to get me a little over 400,000 loot. And then that was good for on this other event that's going on. Strength is irrelevant. 1.62 million points. That doesn't quite sound right, but maybe it is. 62395 times 26 kills. 1.62. Yep, 1.62. So I need, at my ops level, I need 97.5 million points killing 36s, which would be an awful lot. 97490, 123, divided by, that would mean I'd have to kill nearly 1,600 things. Wow, that's a lot. that is a lot of things to kill. If I get 26 per hull, that would be 60 trips into a system that is transwarp gated. They did make an announcement today that they realized the scoring for this was going to be very difficult for some people to complete. They could not change it, I guess, or decided not to change it. So instead, they are going to run the exact same event again tomorrow with the exact same rewards with much lower milestones. So anybody who could complete it today, kudos to you. You'll also get to do it again tomorrow and get extra loot. And if you can't be bothered doing it today, you'll get a chance to do it again tomorrow at a more realistic power level. So, one thing people are really hating is the mission that wants you to mine 3 million tritanium. Yeah, I did hear about that, that one of the other side missions, or core missions, in the holodeck, there is a stage in it where apparently some people are saying they have to mine 3 million tritanium. Other people are saying they have to mine crystal or gas or something too. So haven't gotten that far in the haven't started those chains yet. Those would be for what you need to do for Tour of Duty throughout the month. You've got 20 days to complete them. And doing so gets you 400 assimilation store credits and another avatar for your troubles. Not really as good prizes this time around. Usually this is like, there's some good milestones and some good stuff here. 400 of these assimilation store credits, not really all that great compared to what we normally get for some of this stuff. So nobody has been able to find a crew setup for the Vidar 36 Plus. The new systems are pretty much exclusively for the Talios. Yeah, I mean, it's just a power creep thing, right? They're just that much stronger. And, just for hoo-has, we are going to go check out the 37 system. Now I do want to make one little subtle change here, because I do have Hemmer. And he's not really going to change anything, because it's only his below deck ability that changes anything. So Hemmer versus Una, they're kind of about the same stats. You know what, I'm just going to keep Una where she is. Nope, that was the wrong thing. And let me just see. You're tier 4, you're promoted as high as you can go. Can't promote you any further. Let me just see and make sure he's all the way up too. Now I can take him up a little higher. Let's do this. He's tier 3. Let's spend the XP and let's promote him all the way up. Get those stats as high as we can to give him a little bit of an extra boost. And she should be as high as she can go, yeah. What does she trigger off of? She triggers off of attack. So I need somebody with a lot of attack. Hello, Mr. Khan. We'll put you under there. And let's throw Riker under there. Let's throw you under there. Let's put Pan under there. There we go. Let's pump those stats up as high as we can. I don't think I had a problem with mitigation last time. In fact, I can go check my battle log, and we'll see. When I was fighting these things, took a lot of shield health. Not a lot of hull health, but a lot of shield health. Again, because of the Strange New Worlds crew. How was we doing? Yeah, we're right about 71% mitigation. So I think it was kind of already at max mitigation. $71.2, which I think is as max as you can get. So I don't know if that's going to change too much, but I mean, we have the room for the stats. We might as well use it, right? Lightning Hawk, thank you very much for the follow. Welcome on in. We seem to have a lot of new viewers who have wandered on in. Awesome. Great to see you all. Just talking about the new arc here. You have to mine 3-star ore and a little bit, only a few thousand of each. Okay. Pucker my butt on those 37s. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that the 37s are probably not going to go all that well. But I haven't been to the system yet, and it's nice to see the difference. And since they did give us 6 extra transwarp cells today, I don't mind throwing one away. 36 system, you found that your Max Vidar and Tier 1 Talios were about equal. Okay. Denver Stone, you tried the full Strange New World on a Tier 2 Tally. Same loot as your Vidar, but double the grind time. So it took you twice as long with the Tally instead of the Vidar? Okay. Yeah, I'm going to try the 37s, if only because, just for point total purposes, they are significantly higher for this stupid event. So 37s are worth more than double. So even if I only get, 12 or 13, I still come out ahead on points. I don't know if it's going to go well enough. And as far as doing a damage XO or anything like that, probably not going to help either. But they will run the same event again tomorrow, like I said, with a more reasonable point threshold. Your battle pass was just mining today, which is always nice to do the day after mining. So hopefully if you pulled your miners off after 12 o'clock, you finished up pretty quick. Your battle pass has a decent amount of officers as well as the new expansion cube directives. Looks like we've got quantum communicators in here as well for the command center. There is not an event that I saw on the calendar regarding upgrading the command center this month. It looks like that was only last month. The fleet commanders have events this month to upgrade them, but the building itself doesn't seem like we're doing any more events for it unless it's a surprise event. More diodes, independent credits, more of these expansion cube directives in the top half. Just a handful of officer shards. Not really giving out a lot of officer shards here in the battle pass because those are all going to be sourced through the event store. And that's about it for what we've got going on with the main stuff there. We did talk about you're building the Talios in these particular events. You do get the extra emote, right? Hey, look, that's what you're getting, the facepalm emote, if you finish in the top 5. So every time somebody hits your miner, you can just be like, oh. Along with a big chunk of more of these assimilation store credit things. So, are you finding that the milestones for that event aren't that bad on my mid-30s account? Well, let's go take a look and see what the difference is here. Yeah, so we've got Ops 36 on this account, and my strength is irrelevant requires 159,000 points, which again, if I'm completing level 33 Borg probes, that's not even 10. What's that, like 6 kills and I'm done? And this is on my Ops 36 account, which does have a tier 9 Vidar. I got that on Sunday. We got that done because I knew I was going to need it for this half of the arc, and to start sourcing the solo Armada directives. I did the legwork and I finished it up. So yeah, I guess I could just go kill some 33s and be done with this, or I could kill 2 or 3 level 36 probes and be done with this as well. So it seems like for once, the players in the 30s, well, actually, no, usually it's the players in the mid to high 40s who seem to get the most screwed by these things, because they scale the points so much higher, thinking you should be able to do so much more than you can based on your ops level, but there just isn't, enough going on there. All right. Wow. So these guys the 37s are double. They are double the strength, the 23 up to 45 million. The rewards go from about 8 up to about 11,000. And the DPR on these things goes from 6 million up to about 8 million. Officer attack bonus is minus 100%. Well, that's interesting. Officer def. So they're lowering. They have a negative bonus, or they're lowering my bonus. Not exactly sure what that means. Denver, you have the same milestone cost at Ops 45 as what's on my lower level account, or as what's on my higher level account at 48. Probably the people in the 40s probably have the same crazy one at like 90-something million. Samo, oh, by the way, welcome, Major Samo. Thank you for coming on in. Your Ops 35, you finish your event in like half a dozen kills. Yep, exactly. Very easy to do. Yeah, it seems like the people in the 30s have a very easy time with this particular event. It seems to be the people who are 40 plus who have some pretty crazy point totals. Did I die? Did I not even kill him? I didn't even kill that guy. Okay. So I got 0. I can kill 26 level 35s, or 36s, and I couldn't even kill 1 level 37. And that guy died too. He should have waited. If he had waited, he could have killed mine. That's like 98% dead. Hey, Admiral Pegasus, welcome on in. The one you just showed is exactly, okay. I'm live on the web store. Awesome. That's good, because before they were showing a guy who was offline. So it's nice that it switched over to me. What are you doing? What are you buying? You're in the web store? What are you buying? It's late for you. You waited for the wife to go to bed, and now you're going to go buy some stuff? Ace, your milestone, yours was only 6 million milestone at Ops 42. Okay. Okay. Yeah, and I mean, there are obviously other ways to score. You can do upgrades. You can spend nanoprobes to complete this. If you spend them to upgrade your Vidar, so if your Vidar wasn't maxed and you had points left to spend on it, you could do that. If you bought the Talios, you could spend the nanoprobes to upgrade it, and that would also, which I think maybe is what they expected people to do, Well, people will just buy the Talios, and then you'll get plenty of points. You'll have 125,000 times, nanoprobes at 100 points apiece. That's 125 million points. All you have to do is spend the $50 and get the other half of the ship, and then you can complete the event. Isn't everybody going to do that? Or you could also spend some nanoprobes, if you have them left over, on Talios research. And that would also give you credit for said event. Now the Talios research that was just added is here. Oh, your son woke up crying. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. You're getting your free Vulcan emote. Yes. Everybody make sure you get your free emote on the web store. That will that counts as 2 points instead of 1 for the event. That'll save you 25 emotes. But we do have the new research right here. You have a new prime inert nanoprobes, which increases the amount while you're using the new ship only. You get a boost. This is a new material, so not the same material. You also have this Vinculum Scrapper one. Now again, I said if you bought the ship, you get those 100 things here. This increases the amount of fragments you get when you destroy the expansion cubes. And from what I understand, when you get the second half of the mission, you're also supposed to get this. We hope they do that right. Otherwise, there's going to be a lot of very upset people because they're going to wonder, well, how else am I supposed to get this now? So it was said that this would still be free for people to get if they get the ship for free. Fingers crossed that actually holds up. Phase, you need to get your Vidar max. It takes ages. It does. If you're going from tier 8 to tier 9, it's 660,000 nanoprobes. If you do triple pulls now, that they added the triple pull, you spend about 750,000 nanoprobes a day. That will give you 31,000 charged nanoprobes. Means you can do it in about 3 weeks. So 3 weeks of doing triple pulls will give you enough to get from tier 8 to tier 9. That's what I had to do on my level 35, 36 account now. And these regular primes here for the nanoprobes and stuff, these also do not spend the charged ones, but this one does give you double refining boost. But the new one right here, this Reclamator one, increases your Solo Armada credits while using the Vidar Talios. So if you are using your Talios in your Solo Armada, this is the research that you can do for it. Costs 43,000 at 100 points apiece. That's what, 43 million. That gives you about half of. It would give me about half of my event. Would be done right there. You can also do the Talios warp range to increase the warp range on that. This one costs 36,000. So again, if I'm not necessarily upgrading the ship, but if I'm doing the research, I can spend nanoprobes here, and that would also help complete the event faster. So there are other ways to get it done other than just banging your head against the wall, slamming into stuff for hours upon hours. Because, just to be curious, if I went down to things I can consistently kill, where's my calculator? There we go. So this was going to cost me 1,562 kills. 97490 123. If I go down to 33s, which I know I can kill a crazy amount of, to get all the points I need, I would have to do 3,900 kills. 3,900 kills. Just leave that number for you right there for a second. That is going to put me way over the hostile cap. I'm not even going to get loot chests by the time this is all done. I mean, if I split them up, right? If I do 1,900 today and I do 2,000 tomorrow, That'll be like my loot cap for both days. It's simple things like this that are just so infuriating because it's just some very basic math. But again, I think this was done intentionally to really encourage people to not wait until next week, to give them that fear of missing out, that they would miss out on event store currency, even though it's not a whole lot. It's only 400 event store currency that you'd be missing out on here. 400. What does 400 get you? Each pull is 100 of these, so you're missing out on 4 pulls by not doing this event. And what do each of these pulls have? Well, let's segue into this and talk about the event store. Wait a minute. Olympus, let me catch up on chat first, then we'll talk about the event store. Coordination for the solo Borg Armadas into the new cube seems like it's going to be a pain. Yes, definitely going to have to do that. Because that's the thing too, right? To get the buff to go take on the new cubes, you have to use your Talios and take down a solo Armada. Or actually, you have to just take down a solo Armada, and then your Talios gets the buff. So, realistically, I think the best you could do would be everybody go wait with your Talios at the new cubes, and then everybody do a solo Armada with 3 other ships. So now you need at least 4 docks devoted to this crap. Take down your solo Armada. Bam, everybody gets your buff. They're good for an hour. So you got a few minutes to wrangle some cats together. And then go knock out the new expansion cubes. Couldn't think of a better name for it. You just call them expansion cubes. Yeah, they're part of the new expansion, and they're cubes. Let's go with expansion cubes. Brilliant. Yeah, sounds great. Yeah, write that down. That's a good idea. It's expansion cubes. We like that one. Yeah, and maybe you can knock off a couple of them, or, if you have to use your Talios, then you're going to want to disco over. So disco summoning becomes, another key factor here, for sure. Denver Stone using a tier 2 tally, farming 36s. With the full Strange New Worlds, you got 700k in 18 minutes. When you took Una out and put 5 of 11 in, you got 610k loot. So you lost a little bit of loot, but it only took you 10 minutes to do it. Okay. So saved you some time, but yeah. Scopely doesn't understand math if it's anything other than 99.99. That's, well, some people can make that point for sure. Special K, by the way, welcome on in. Good to see you again. It's not even good event store currency. It's Dabo currency. With 8 docks, it's easy. Don't let Scopely force you into doing events. That's a thing, too. Fear of missing out, really drives a lot of people. And I feel like that's a marketing strategy that they rely on pretty heavily. And, at some point in time, there's going to be events that people are just going to skip because they don't feel like the rewards are worth it. And they're just not going to engage. And good for them. Because then that'll sort of teach them that maybe they need to incentivize us better or differently to do certain things. Because, I'm not going to grind out 4,000 nanoprobes or 1,500 nanoprobes at the higher level 36s just so I can get 4 pulls of this Dabo wheel mechanic. Even looking at the rewards. So you've got its basic rewards, your Parsteel ore, your titanium and crystal, your dilithium and gas. They also throw in, that's about it. Whatever, a little bit of Parsteel, ore, gas. This all scales by ops level. Then there's also a chance at getting shards for the new officers. You're not even guaranteed an officer shard per pull. I did one earlier. I did 3 pulls. I got 0 officer shards. So you're not even guaranteed to get those. Roxy Rose, thank you very much for the follow. Welcome on in. You get, some Latinum here is also a chance. Not guaranteed. You could get Latinum. You could get some 15-minute speed ups because at Ops 48, I know the one thing I'm really lacking are 15-minute speed ups. Tritanium, good amounts of tritanium, not going to lie. That's, 425 million plus another 115 in tokens. So we're talking about 540 million at 90 million a hull to repair my pylum. That's 6 repairs. That's not bad. That's 6 repair bills. Okay, a little bit better. Dilithium, 80 million dilithium plus another 57 million in tokens. Again, for my ops level, pretty good. Some of my research costs 500 to 600 million, so it's making a dent in it, I guess. The one that's probably going to be the most popular is the away team store because of the trait XP and the speed ups, because there aren't really ways to source speed ups for away teams anymore. So getting the extra trait XP to finish up, move up some of those critical chances. This is probably going to be, of the 5, I think probably the most popular one. But there is also some good territory research, so getting some extra ISO emulsion is good. Plus, you'll get some of this stuff for your alliance, so it can turn on some active buffs as well. And then, again, your chance at one of the 3 officers, or Latinum, or speed ups. So, Handyman says, in a way of event stores, this one is a bit disappointing. It is. This is the Dabo mechanic that we had last year. It was the 2-month arc with the Ferengi, Lobes of Love, as I like to call it. They didn't want to go 5 months without an event store, so we get like this little mini self-contained one where you're sourcing some officers. By the way, speaking of Ferengi, there's a Ferengi right there. I don't know which Ferengi this is supposed to be that they modeled it after, but that does look like a Ferengi officer to me. So yeah, so you have this little mini event store, random kind of game where you get some extra resources only. You're not getting ship parts, you're not getting blueprints, you're not getting old officer shards like you would from a full event store, but you are still getting to sort of pick your prize a little bit, kind of pick up some extra materials that might help you progress or level up a little bit based on what you need. But again, it does scale by ops level. So if we go to my ops 36 account and we look at what I'm getting per pull over here, 16 is what I'm getting in terms of G3 uncommon ore at ops 36 on this particular server here. So if I need 2,000 uncommon ore to upgrade one component on my auger, well, I'm going to get 16 of it, and if I can do that 50 times, that's, again, not very good. 800. Yeah, I could have done that. That is right. So that won't even get me the one component I need if I dump all of it into here. So again, probably going to be staying on this end of things, getting the trait XP, which will help me the most, and also seems to be the one that has the least change between it. 738 compared to 813. So there's very little difference between this bundle and what I'm getting on my lower account. The territory one, I'm getting 10,000 on my main account, and on my lower account, it's something ridiculously lower, 875. So all of the things seem to have a much wider scaling, except for the assimilation away team and the trait XP. So again, I think this one is probably going to be the best value and the one people are going to max out first. If I remember from last year's Ferengi Dabo thing, I feel like we got over 100 tokens throughout the course of the month. So you'll definitely be able to max out one of them, possibly a second one, and maybe get into a third one, or at least come close to finishing up a second one, or you'll split up points on the second one. So yours is at 813 at ops 42 as well. Yep. We've got away team events coming. Yep, away team Very likely. I didn't look at the calendar fully yet, but I'm sure there's away team type stuff here, so getting extra speed ups for that is always good. Definitely ultra token spend events. I did see that 2 weekends. We've got ultra recruit tokens, so save those up. Yep, good call out. Lloydson, you're not a fan of the new officers. How does the Queen of the Borg not have a captain's ability? Because she commands from the shadows, right? She's not on the front line. She's sending everybody else out to go do stuff for her. I guess is kind of the thing. So she's not, yeah, it does seem a little bit weird. I'm sure that's how they kind of justified it. But I also think it's also a thing where they didn't want to introduce a mechanic where somebody had a captain's ability and a below deck ability. And they really wanted these new Borg officers and this new assimilate mechanic to all be lower deck slots, so that way you could stack it with, burning and assimilate, or hull breach and assimilate. So I think just for a gameplay point, they had to compromise on thematic nature a little bit there. Special K, can I show my 30-day chest, please? On which account are you looking for? Nude, your Ops 38, and yours has 1469 in your ISO emulsion. Yeah, and again, I don't know if some of these things are server locked, or if it's like the treasury and things like that, where it's not just ops level, but it's also age of server. I'm hoping not with that with these. I'm hoping it is just ops level related. So at 38, you're getting 1400, and at 48, I'm getting 10,000. So yeah, a little bit of a difference there, I guess. I might save some of these actually, because I'm planning on going to 49 this month. As soon as we have that first auction event, I'm going to hit the button and move up to 49. And then I wonder if these will change. Probably. Dean Smash, you remember maxing out 2 of them last time. I thought I did too. I thought I finished 2 of them and then had a few left over to dump into a third one. So we'll probably get, 100 and 110, 120 different pulls. I mean, some of them may also depend on where you finish in certain leaderboards too. So that may have an impact on that. Olympus, you're just glad they brought Dabo. I agree, the Dabo was a good mechanic. I like this sort of mechanic where you kind of get to pick things. I wish you were guaranteed an officer shard. It could be random which one you get, of course. But the fact that there's chances that you could, I could do this right now. I could open 3 chests right now. I got 1 officer shard out of 3 pulls. It's not a good feeling. I mean, I got Latinum instead, right? I guess instead of an officer pull, I got 6,000 Latinum for each one. So I guess it's not a bad trade-off. I guess that's the mechanic. If you're not getting officer shards, you're getting Latinum instead. Let's test that one more time. Let's do this away team one over here, and let's see if it works out the same way. 0 officer shards. Again, 0 officer shards. 3,900 Latinum. What was my chance? Latinum was 1,900, so no. Nope. I got Latinum for 2. And no officer shard at all. So it's not even like a guaranteed swap out. It's not even like, well, if you don't get an officer shard, you do get Latinum instead. Because you can sort of get hosed and get nothing from either group, I guess. And that's not cool. Didn't see the Ultra Recruit event. When is it? Sounds like a fleet commander. Yeah, well, yeah, a little bit there, yeah. On my higher ops level? Okay. How am I feeling about part 2 so far? I feel like there's a lot of stuff going on, and it didn't help that they didn't tell us about some of it early, and they've kind of been, putting it out in stages, like the changes to fleet commanders that happened. We didn't know about that. They rolled out the new diplomacy token or diplomacy settings for alliances. That was a new change as well that they didn't really tell us about. We kind of were like, hey, what's this in game? And then it was like, oh yeah, by the way, we forgot to mention. So there's a few things there kind of going on. Again, I feel like the communication is still lacking. The fleet commander change was the biggest one, though, because people didn't know whether it was a bug or not. So people were like rushing to do it. I better unlock this now while I can. But now we know that there's events. We got the event calendar. There's events to spend those materials. So, you know, people trying to cheat the system kind of screwed themselves over, which may or may not be karma. What auction event material spend? Now there's something with material spends. Maybe it's not an auction, but there's a material spend on the calendar. But we'll go look at the calendar real quick. You got a pull or two with none of the chance drops, only guaranteed. Yeah. I mean, you can get screwed by the Dabo wheel, right? So you can be, you know, sometimes you just crap out. That's kind of how it goes. But let's go scroll through the calendar. We'll look at that next. But now I can just tell that, oh, I helped 6 Alliance members. You're welcome, guys. Okay, so the other thing we got just a few minutes ago is our Battle Pass calendar here. Alright, so entropy's going on for the low-level people, just for them to kill hostiles. We've got gain power, research type events, spending ship XP. That's coming up. Today's what, the 7th? I don't have my phone handy. Today's the 7th, so this is Thursday. We've got this event here to basically spend ship XP, but you could also do some research and stuff. Borg Hostiles, Borg Solos. These are Alliance Leaderboard events. Don't know why they put it twice. Then again, they also put one of the bug fixes on the bug list. They also put that twice too. I guess they were really impressed with themselves for how they fixed that bug about that mission, that they put it on the list twice. Can't proofread. Okay, anywho. Cubes. Again, killing Borg Armadas and Borg Mega Oobs. I don't know what a Mega Oob is, but that's cute. Magobs. That's what we're killing. We're killing Magobs. No Magobs around here, sir. More solo armadas, more Borg hostiles, gain power, defeat Borg expansion cubes. That's what's coming up here this weekend. This event that nobody should do is on the 18th and the 19th. This is a 2-day event that revolves solely around purchasing the new Fed Kling Romulan Elite Recruit Prime Node, which we'll circle back to in a minute because I'm going to need to compose myself before I talk about that piece of trash. Here we go, doing Eclipse Hostiles. You get bonus points if you have the Stella skin that makes it assimilated. You can also kill Eclipse Armadas. We got a raiding event coming up. I think that's tomorrow. Yeah, the 8th and the 9th here. We've got raiding stuff. Solo leaderboard, solo milestone. That should be fun. You can also get it from killing hostiles, so you don't have to do base raiding. You can just go out and kill stuff and get tritanium and dilithium off of them. But here we have our fleet commander events coming up this weekend. So don't rush to spend your fleet commander stuff is what I'm talking about. So, and then we move down a little bit, and now we've got some more fleet commander focused events. Again, using the particular crews and ships to kill the other ship. We've seen these events before. They're back one more time. But now we come down here. This is all stuff involving the Talios. We've got officer events here for lower level players. But the higher level ones here kill Romulan hostiles, kill Federation hostiles, kill Federation hostiles. Score by spending trait XP and upgrading traits. Earn extra points completing away team missions, so we get that twice this month. The 16th and the 17th, and the 23rd and the 24th. So like President's Day weekend here, and then the week afterwards is going to be 2 weekends involving around trait XP. So again, good opportunity to stock up through your Dabo wheel. This is an SLB for doing stuff, SMS for spending materials and rare and epic directives. So it's not a leaderboard event this month, but there is one to at least spend materials, and that's coming up on the 9th. Have to see what the milestones are. Maybe I won't move up Ops then. Maybe I'll have to wait and see what they look like. See if I want to save it for another month. Probably not, but we'll wait and see there. But here we go down here. Here are the Recruit-a-thon events. It is a solo milestone event and a solo leaderboard event. This is the 16th and the 17th. Again, that's Thursday, Friday of next week. And again on the 23rd and the 24th, which is the same dates of the following week. You are scoring by spending Ultra Recruit tokens, and it is 2 weeks in a row. So if you're might want to hang back, kind of see where the wheels are going on this first event, and if it looks like people are going crazy spending their Ultra Recruits, maybe you're like, I'll just do just enough to finish my solo milestone and save everything I've got for weekend number 2. Or if people seem like they're hanging back a little bit, maybe you can like snipe your way into a top spot on this SLB. Again, don't know what the rewards are going to be, but maybe you can get your way in there. So that's where you've got the Pegasus. Have a good night, man. Good luck getting back to bed. Didn't bother fixing the Solo Armada push notification, it seems. I haven't gotten that notification. I haven't been getting that one, so I'm sorry that you still are. But that's not something I've seen showing up on my devices yet. I consider maybe I'm just lucky, and I'll just pat myself on the back for being blessed. So, Ultra event and an Officer Shard event. Yeah. Then we come down here to Valentine's Day. What we've got going around here. Score on Valentine's Day, completing away team assignments. The 13th, we've got trivia questions. Can't spell Valentine right. Come on, man. You can't even spell Valentine right. It's right above it. Valentine's Day events. Spell Valentine. 0 for 3. 0 for 3. Whatever intern typed this up was probably texting while they were typing. And we also have defeating faction hostiles on the 15th. Then we have some ticketed events. Increase power, spend faction credits and officer intel, give helps. These are your mining ones. Kill swarms or doomsday worms. I noticed something else that got added. Maybe I hadn't noticed them previously. But I'm pretty sure that we got a couple new worm systems up here too. I don't know if you guys noticed this at all or not, but I feel like they squeezed in another worm system or 2 in here. I think there were 3 new ones that got added up here, because I know we asked for those. But it does make me then wonder, like, why did we add these new systems with more of these epic, armadas? Because guess what's coming in March, folks? That's right, it's assimilated worms. That's the Borg's answer. They couldn't fight the Federation, so they're going to go assimilate some worms, and they're going to use the worms to come after the Federation and take everybody down. God, I hope not. God, I really hope not. Your whole server just went to war, so the raiding event will be fun. Well, that's cool, Olympus. There you go. It's the head coder who can't spell. That would make sense why there's a few other things that don't work, right? If the head coder can't spell, getting some things wrong. You're convinced their coders are not based in any English-spoken country. I guess that's also a thing too, right? We take for granted sometimes. Scopely is a multinational company, right? They do have offices in a variety of places. So perhaps some of those people working on stuff, English may not be their first language. That's a good point. Those worm systems were there before, hence why they are discovered. I just went to them today because I was like, what are these and what the heck is in them? Because I had never seen them before. And also, the ones with the little thing right here are the ones that have the armadas in them. These are the ones that have the armadas in them. That's why they have the little shield next to them, to their name. The ones without the shield next to their name have the regular worms in them to hunt and kill. But they added new systems, and they forgot to put the little shield on it, but it is only the armadas that are in here. That's also how I know that they're different, because their name doesn't match the other coatings. So we added this Enzonkus one over here, which, again, just has new armada. Oh, there's one swarm in it. One worm in it, but again, it's more armadas. Even though it should mostly be and have the other name here. And I think this Alfazi here, I think this is the other one. Again, it's just armadas. This is just another system of just rare Doomsday Fishers. So it makes me think they've got an event coming up soon that's going to revolve around killing more of these high-level worm armadas, that they added a secondary system for each of them right next to the other system, because we're going to need to go there. So, don't be surprised if sometime in the next month or two, we have events that involve killing Doomsday Worm armadas again. I'm sorry to bring you down. I'm sorry to do that to you. But I figure it is better to be forewarned than taken by surprise. So, again, maybe I'm wrong. I don't know these things for fact. But why else would they add 3 more systems of nothing but Doomsday Armadas when nobody does Doomsday Armadas on a regular basis? Did they even change the rewards for them? Oh, they're giving out salvage parts. Recruit TOS officers. Have they always given out the salvage parts? Maybe they have. Maybe they have, and I just forgot about this. I feel like at one point in time they were just giving out like par steel, and you're like, why the hell are they giving out par steel? Okay, so they're giving out salvage parts. So maybe if we get like another TOS Revisited arc, they're going to bring this mechanic back. People will be able to continue getting the salvage parts, and then they'll bring the recruits back, and there'll be a way to source TOS officers again. I don't know. Lloyd, you might uninstall the game if that happens. Okay. They speak English and what? There you go. Maybe it's Worm Solo Armadas. Could be a thing. You never know. You never know. Go ahead and forewarmed. There you go. Better to be forewarned than forewormed. I like it. Slap that on a bumper sticker. There you go. When I edit this clip together later, that's the title of the clip. Thank you very much, AndyMan183. I'm giving you credit for that idea. Bravo, sir. Well played. Dean Smash says you're 99% sure those were there before. Or at least they have since they always did. Okay, yeah. The uncommons give out the par steel. Okay. The stuff they told us to use because they were never going to bring it back ever again. Right. They did tell us to use that because they weren't going to bring it back, but yet they left it in the game as a reward. So it's like, why are you still giving that as a reward? And then, why did you add 3 new systems? I don't think on my other account, I haven't made it out this far yet, so I don't think I can go. Yeah, I don't think I went up. Oh, I did go up here. A little bit. I made it up to these, but I didn't make it out to these yet, so I don't know. I can tell you right now, Alanir wasn't here, because this system branching over into Fed space sticks out like a sore thumb. This system was not here. And I'm pretty sure Alfazori here was also not there. But maybe I'm mistaken. Why did I go here? Oh, right, because I was supposed to do... Right. So now I gotta go meet some people. Defeat the mercenaries. Okay. So for those of you who have not done your mission yet, you'll pick it up from the holodeck. You'll come over here. You'll kill this one thing. It's 500k. It will then send you out to the new Borg systems. Who's this guy? You're not worth killing. Alanir is the only one you saw today that was unscouted, so that one's new. Okay. So they added at least another new system. Maybe I just never noticed the other ones before. But it still makes you wonder, why would they add a new system? So then it sends you over here to Adala, which is your way of finding out where the new Borg systems are. Because I'll be honest, when I first scrolled out and was looking at the map, I was looking over here, where oh, we've got our regular Borg systems over here. We've got our new solo armadas. The new cube systems are right over here that are branched off of the solo armadas. So you do your solo armada, and then the system right next to it is where the cubes are. So you're not necessarily traveling a great deal of space unless your alliance is punching up higher than you can. So if you're only able to do 35 solos and they're not doing the 38s that are right next to it, you might have a little bit of travel time, and you might have to disco if, say, they're doing this one up here. If this is where they're doing the cubes, because they're stronger than you, and you're going to be one of the lower people in the group, then you might have to disco to get over here to make it in time. But yeah, this is kind of where I was looking, and it was like, where the hell are these new systems? Well, if you do the mission, it shows you, and then it sends you all the way over here to just outside of Rogue space. They also put in a new flight path connecting, so if you happen to be going through this way, it might be faster to go through Yuma and out here, as opposed to coming all the way around or up from the bottom or whatnot. So Gan, you said you've got 4 that haven't been discovered. You're almost 100% sure you had them all discovered before. Lloydson thinks that he agrees with Denver that Alanir is the only new worm system on his map. Either way, we can all agree that Alanir is new. That seems to be definitely a consensus. So then it makes you wonder, if you have a system full of level 50 swarms that nobody's using, nobody's killing these things, because there's no reason to do it, because you can't even turn in the loot once you do it. Why did they add a second system for it? If nobody's using the first one, why put a second one in? I think that tells us that we're going to have a reason to use these. It's probably going to be coming up in the next month or two. So Dean, maybe you went there today, man. I don't know. This is the abusive relationship between Scopely and us that they've built, because we're scoping out worm systems, wondering whether or not they're going to hit us with another mechanic again like it. Oh. That's definitely true. Maybe an anthology arc instead of new stuff. Well, it could possibly seem to reason. We may transition. Picard's coming out in a week and a half, right? The 16th, 17th, I think is when Picard also premieres. Right, when we have a number of these other events going on. So it's certainly possible that we transition out of this arc and into a 2-month Picard arc for March and April. And then, again, like Strange New Worlds, it was only a 2-month arc, I think, right? So, and then month 3 was a throwback. It was the anthology arc in May or something like that last year. So maybe we get something like that again, where we get a 2-month little short arc followed by an anthology arc in May, encapsulating catching up on some older mechanics, which might come into play with something up here. And then we should get an event store tied into that, because we're not going to go forever without an event store. But this little mini event store here kind of tells me that this event is over, and then we'll end up with our next event store in May. But they didn't want to go December to May without an event store. The new people will be really pissed and unhappy about that. So that's why we get Dabo to get the new little mini mechanic here. And we'll get our event stores in May, August, and December again, which is what we had them last year. You still wish they had a more stable event pattern of 3-month arcs with a 1-month break between each one. Yeah, they don't want to do 1-month breaks. 1-month breaks are no good for them. They don't like those. Because they think during break months is when they're not making money, and it's also when people take time off away from the game. And if you take time away from the game, well, then you might realize that your life is better without it, and then you won't come back. And they need you here. You've got to be here. They have to have you here. Let me just pop this guy off real quick and finish up that mining daily. Who PM'd me? Oh. Okay. So now we're in the new system. Ah, it crashed. Been crashing a little bit on BlueStacks lately. Might have too much stuff going, but since the Picard show completely destroyed the Borg canon, maybe in the Picard arc they will delete all the Borg content. Did it destroy the Borg canon completely? It's true. I mean, they did do a little bit of time travel and kind of change some things. And now suddenly the Borg are our friends, right? Hey there, Maverick. How you doing today? Lloydson, you asked your alliance. We have had people that have been to Alanir, so it is not new. They retconned the Borg. There you go. Great. Hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully new swarms or new worm events are not coming in the future. But if they are, don't say you weren't forewarned. You're really scared they're going to do something silly like Picard never really left the Nexus. It was all a dream kind of thing. Well, that would be really weird. Does that mean Kirk's not really dead too? Because he's still no. He's still there. They're still hanging out on the farm, horseback riding. It may just be one faction of Borg that was impacted by Picard. Could be a thing. I guess we'll see how they tie it all up in season 3. I have not watched any of the trailers. I don't want any spoilers. I'm just going to go into this like I did the other, season or 2 seasons and just be very happy with not knowing what's coming up. Maverick has a question. We like questions. We encourage questions from our audience. Since you're getting the Defiant soon, should you replace your maxed Enterprise that has Kirk on it or your Tier 8 Augur with Miles? So you're asking which ship should you swap out to put the Defiant in its place? Max Enterprise or Tier 8 Augur? Yeah, I figured you're 42, right? Yeah, so you already have a Valdor. Carissa and Legrieve. Hi, Legrieve. Welcome on in. Thank you for chatting. Oh, you're 44 now. Okay. Um, which ship to replace? The Enterprise is definitely going to continue to soak up more damage. And if you do Picard, Beverly, Eurydice on the Defiant, which seems to be the kind of the default crew for that one too, you're definitely getting more damage absorption. I just don't know about damage output. Try it without the Augur first and see how it goes. And then obviously you could swap and flip and try it without the Enterprise instead. You're probably going to have better results using the Enterprise in the Defiant. Valdor Enterprise Defiant is probably going to give you slightly better results than Valdor Augur Defiant. Barkman saying ditch the Enterprise. Stupid ads. Augur has a punch. Augur does have a punch to it. And since both of yours, I mean, your Augur is tier 9. No, your Augur's tier 8. The Enterprise is maxed. That tier 9 is making a little bit of a change. Belair says that every month we get new officers, but we don't get officer shards for last month's officers. No, there's like a 6-month gap. 6 to 12 months, you know, once new officers kind of come into the game, it's buy them now, or, you know, we'll come up with better sourcing for them down the road. And it typically falls into the same 6-month exclusivity kind of period for people. You know, some of them we do get sourcing for. Usually it's not great sourcing. Like, you know, Deep Space Nine, we got some of the crew sourceable through the Bajoran faction store. You know, the new Borg officers from last month are sourceable through the Solo Armada grind. It's not great. It's not consistent. You're not getting regular pulls like you are from a lot of the other main officers. But, you know, there's at least a mechanism for it. Right, so you fly out here, you pick which one you want, and either way it's the same thing. Consult the network, confront the Ferengi. Last time I did consult the network. This time I'm going to confront the Ferengi. We'll see if that makes it any different. Where do I have to go now? Defeat the Ferengi vessel. Where is it located? It is in Azani in this swarm system. Okay. So we will fly over there. Keeping the Enterprise in means any exocomps, if you're using Explorer exos, it affects 2 ships. That is a good point there as well. You also have the ability, if you're using Armada exos, it doesn't matter because all 3 of them are getting the same benefit. If you're using Explorer exos, that would again line up a little bit better. Enterprise has built-in survivability. The Augur hits hard. If you take out the Enterprise and replace it with the Defiant, you're kind of going, you know, one-on-one with, you know, meat shielding. You're replacing a ship that regenerates its shields with a ship that regenerates its shields. You just have to swap the crews out a little bit. The Defiant is going to die fairly early in the fight. I mean, not fairly early in the fight, because, you know, Eurydice is going to keep the shields up for a while. It's going to absorb quite a bit of damage before it does eventually go. Also, having the Defiant means you also get access to the Defiant buff. So depending on how much of the research you can get done as well, that's also going to skew things a little bit too, because now your Valdor is going to be hitting a lot harder. I'm assuming that'll be the ship you buff, most likely. So that ship's going to get a big bonus to its damage output, especially if you can get some of the, it takes a little while to get those things up and running. But after the first couple weeks, once you do get some of those researches, they kind of go up in stages. But there's some pretty big jumps. I'm working on these right now myself. So like these first couple of these ones right here. So you've got Army of One, which improves your damage output, and it requires flanking maneuver, calibrated sights, and seeing through. These are all ones that improve your penetration stats. It's your dodge, or your accuracy, and your armor piercing, and those kinds of things. When you get all of these up to a certain level, then you can get Army of One up. Then you can get these ones down here, and these ones are huge upgrades. The first one is not much. It's a 3% boost to your critical hit chance against solo armadas while buffed by the Defiant. But when you get it to tier 2, now it's a 14% boost, and then it starts going up 7% per level. So when you get some of these done, and now you're buffing your Valdor or your bigger ship for higher level players, and now suddenly, in addition to your 5-6 con crew, and con adding 5% or whatever right off the bat, or whatever other ship you're buffing, and now you've got Bashir who's giving you 20% right off the bat to your crit chance, and now the Defiant buff gives you another 20% right off the bat. You're hammering it home right in round 1. You're already at like a 50% crit chance by the time the fight even starts. And then you come over here to Shattering Blow, which is the next one. This increases your critical hit damage output. And again, when you go from tier 1 to tier 2, it goes from 35% to 110%, and then up to 150, 190, and 230. This is again putting a lot more critical hit damage to go with that higher critical hit chance, making that Defiant buff that much more valuable for these solo armadas. It does take a few weeks to kind of work your way through all these, but this is something not to neglect and to make sure you're doing through your Bajoran faction store, because it's a lot of output here. A lot of damage output here. Why does everyone keep saying Augur packs a punch? Same DPR, but less crit chance damage on the Augur. Augur has a damage ramping ship ability with burning. No one uses burning on solo armadas. Well, yeah, I mean, Bashir's great for solo armadas because 20% round 1, just your ship just starts at 20% higher. So it's like, Cisco, Miles, Bashir, and now you hope Miles procs, because if you have a Defiant boost and Bashir, you're already starting out over a 50% critical, and then Cisco slowly starts doing his thing, adding 3% or 6% per round, depending if you've tiered them up even higher, and you're going to get that ship up to like 70-80% crit chance by like round 2, round 3 at that math. And if Miles starts proccing, giving you extra shots, you can do some extra damage. Now the question was, let's go look at it. Let's go to STFC. Let's look at our 2 ships, shall we? G3 epics. If we're looking at our Enterprise, and we're saying the Enterprise is tier 9, so we got this all the way up. This is tier 9. DPR is about 90,000 per round. Firing pattern on said Enterprise. This is the part that bothers me. It's one shot, and then you get the 2 extra shots every other round. So it doesn't feel like it's doing enough damage because it doesn't have as many shots, but that might just be an optics thing with me. So DPR says it's about 89,000, and its ability here is giving you shield regen when it's hit. So it's keeping it alive longer in the fight, as opposed to the Augur, which again, slightly higher. Well, it's only going to be tier 8. So if you're tier 8, same DPR, 89,000. But at this particular level, now you're up to level 40 here. As long as the opponent's ship is burning, when you hit him with the Obliterator, the Augur increases all weapon damage by, at 40, it'd be 128%. Certainly a good motive or incentive to make sure you're using Burning if you're bringing the Augur to your fight. And if you don't have Bashir yet, you might have a spot free. Not necessarily always the best thing to do. It's a minor adjustment for just this ship, whereas someone like Lorca might be more universally, because his hull breach is now applying to all 3 ships that are going to be slamming it with criticals. It's a tough call. Again, I think you might just have to try it out with both and to see how it goes. I'm sure the fight with the Enterprise, the fight with the Enterprise will go more rounds. I can pretty much guarantee that. But you'll also survive more rounds because you're absorbing and regenerating more damage between the 2 ships. So it's going to be one of those more, is it slow and steady wins the race, or is it, you come out swinging. Oh, that was the other thing I wanted. Did I put that away? I did put that away. Is the firing pattern better, or is it just my imagination? So the firing pattern is a little better. So instead of doing 2 shots every round, you're getting 4 shots every round. And then you've got the Obliterator being the one big weapon, hitting with that huge damage, which Miles can double if Miles is on this ship, which I think you said he was. So if he happens to proc and give you a double, now you get 2 shots with the Obliterator, which is giving you, that big damage boost. Compared to your other weapons, which are doing like 11,000, it's doing 100,000. A little more randomness there. Those 2 nodes are ops locked. That's probably true. Good point, Ace. Cisco, Miles, Lorca on the Augur. It does depend on Miles go. Yep. $125 viewers. Think that's the most you've ever seen on one of my streams? Probably. Arc launch day is usually good. A lot of people are always trying to tune in to try and get different opinions and viewpoints on information. It also does help a little bit when we are featured on the web store. We get a little bit of a boost from that. But thank you all very much for being here. Hopefully those of you who haven't already hit the follow button will do so you can find your way back. I do stream 3 days a week, Tuesday nights, Thursday nights, around this time, and Sunday mornings, Eastern U.S. time zones, of course. Carissa seems convinced that the Augur dies way too quickly. It's got a lot of hull health. I got 5 million hull health sitting right there on my Augur, as opposed to my Enterprise, which also has 5 million hull health. So there you go. So they both have a lot of hull health. But one of them's regenerating shields, one of them's putting out more damage. Yeah. If you put out more damage and you can end the fight faster, does it matter if it goes enough rounds? That's one of those, is it, do you want more offense or more defense? So. Thanks for the help. You are very welcome, Maverick. Thank you for asking the question. I know we didn't give you like a very clear-cut answer. I think we're saying start with the Enterprise first. Use that one first. See how it goes. And then if you have to, if it's not getting it done, if the fight's going too long and you're not doing enough damage, you can try switching to the Augur. Back to that and see if it goes. if you're using the Enterprise, then you have to have Kirk. So then it's Cisco Miles Kirk on the Enterprise. And then Picard, Beverly, Eurydice on the Defiant. That's the thing, too, is that the Defiant also has its own specific crew. So then it's like, what are you giving up to go the other way? And maybe that'll help. Maybe having Miles, maybe he gets you some extra shots with the Enterprise. Maybe you don't go Miles. And then you have to give up Lorca. Cisco Lorca Kirk. I mean, it could work. Yeah, it's tough trying to squeeze that in there. Well, yeah, the Valdor's obviously got 5-6 con. Absolutely. Cisco Miles on the Valdor, it's the best. Yeah, see, I'm still going 5-6 con over Cisco Miles. Assuming you have them all available and tiered up decently. I'm going 5-6 con on the best ship. And then you've got Cisco Miles somebody. Cisco Miles Kirk for the Enterprise. Cisco Miles Lorca. Cisco Lorca Kirk. To hybrid it and try and stretch out both bonuses. That's what we were doing. Let's get back to it. So now I got to kill this guy real quick. That will complete my mission. Oh, this guy's 700k. So the Ferengi guy is a little harder. If you pick the other guy, he's only 500k. But I also forgot to do my mining. So let's do these real fast. See, got all too busy talking. Got all hyped up. Talking about all these new events. And I still didn't even get to my least favorite thing from the new patch, which I don't even want to talk about. I'm going to briefly mention it because I can't express enough how just disappointed I am. Even if they're giving it away for free, it's still bad, is really what it comes down to. Too many armadas. There. Yeah, that could be a thing now too. Now we've got armada overload, armada fatigue. So now I have to go back and kill somebody else. That doesn't sound right. I think that's a different mission. Alright, I procrastinated this one long enough. So, you know what, let's bring it up on the bigger one. I skipped over this one. I didn't really skip over it. I briefly mentioned it. That there is an event right here. Where is it? Where did it go? Here we go. Call to Arms SMS Heroic, February 18th through 19th. Score in this event by unlocking the Fed Klingon Romulan Elite Recruit Prime node. For those of you who don't know what that is, this is a new research node that they just added. I think it's in the Galaxy tree. Prime, Fed Klingon Romulan Elite Recruit. Yep, right here. Greatly improves the officer yields in Federation, Romulan, and Klingon elite faction recruit refineries by 100%. These are one of my least favorite things that they have added to the game over the last year. They were a terrible letdown. Feel like a huge bait and switch. I made 2 different videos talking about how friggin' god awful and terrible they were back in like August. And now we have the Elite Federation Recruit Packs, which are still very poorly costed. Here I am at Ops 48. To open 1 pack, you need 500 of these recruit badges, which would cost me 4,800 faction credits. And what do you get for your trouble? Over here in our Elite Recruit Packs, I would spend 4,800 Federation faction credits to open 1 pack that has these officers in it, of which I get 8 shards, 50% are uncommon, 40% rare, 10% epic. So 4 of my 8 will be uncommon, 3 to 4 will be rare, and 0 to 1 will be epic. Out, and again, that's not guaranteed. That's just the average percentage of what you will get. So you will spend 5,000 faction credits, we'll round up, and you'll get 8 officer shards, which great. You'll get chances at Leslie and Hendorf, who you've never had before, but you'll also get these guys who have long since been maxed, who are just going to turn into officer XP, and some of these other rares like Spock and Uhura and Bones, who you've also gotten from your Federation recruit packs. And again, this is based on my ops level. For lower level players, as we pull up my 36 account real quick here, you can see that in order for me to get 1 of these particular packs would cost me a lot higher. I only get 130 here, so I basically need to buy 4 of these bundles to get 1. So I'm spending 6,800 Federation recruits to get 1 pack. And for my trouble, I get, when they announced it, they told us about the new officers that would be added. And it was going to be the TOS guys and Harrison and Yuki and Zhao and the TOS guys who you really didn't have a good chance to get, and Leslie and Hendorf. And you're like, wow, look at all these new officers, right? But they just added them to the pack that had the existing old officers that a lot of people have already maxed out. And that just completely watered down the pack, diluting the value so much. So we complained about it, and we complained about it, and we complained about it, and nobody bought them. And what did we get for our troubles? Oh, well now here's a new prime. And this new prime is going to give you 100% more officers. So now instead of getting a small pile of garbage, you will get a bigger pile of garbage. Because now it goes from 8 shards up to 16 shards, but it still has a 50% uncommon drop rate. So now you've got 16 shards, 8 of which will be uncommons, 7 of which will be rare, and you'll get 1 epic for 5,000 plus recruit packs. And if you look at some of the other recruit packs, they even have fewer officers in them. Jarvanek, Sela, those are newer. Decius, Bator, like these are newer people in here. But then you've got a lot of the same old officers. This one here, your only uncommon new one, you're going to get the majority of your shards you're going to get are going to be uncommon officers, and the only really new one is Lursa, who doesn't have any other sourcing. This is the only way to source Lursa in the game, because she's not in any of the other packs. She's not that good. Don't know why you'd want to buy this pack. And then the Klingon pack, like, oh yeah, you've got Kang and Honor Guard Worf, like awesome. And then you've got, Bael and Gowron and Martok and Curon. And then you've got a handful of these other guys who, again, long since been maxed out. And you're going to spend 5,000 faction credits, which is, 1 or 2 ship blueprints, or, part of what you need to promote an officer to a tier 3, tier 4 of a newer officer. Or buy cloaking blueprints, or, whatever else you want to use those faction credits for. Realistically, it's probably going to be ship blueprints, because you need hundreds of thousands of them for the G4 ships, and millions of them for the epics, and G5 ships even are 450,000 for the uncommons there. Or you can piss those recruits away opening 1 of these packs with a terrible drop rate and a handful of officer shards after you buy the prime to make the pack better. Please don't do that. Please don't buy the prime. Please don't buy any of these packs. Please continue to ignore them like we have been for the last 6 months. And just pretend they don't exist. Until they actually do the right thing and actually just fix the packs and make them better. Whether they lower the cost significantly or whether they take out all of the original officers that have already been sourced and just make it a pack of new people. If it was just a pack of new people, I could understand it costing a little bit more because it's newer officers. But when you water it down with a bunch of people that people have had maxed since they were like in their 30s, it's just not worth it at all. Let's go to the comments. Turns garbage into double garbage. Absolutely, Dean. 4,800. Basically free now that we have the new Borg refinery. Well, hey, yeah, we got extra faction credits from our new Talios refinery, right? So now we'll just have the faction credits flowing. Flowing like wine. I was excited for those packs when they were talking about them. DJ hyped them up. Then they came out. We were all excited about it when they released a press release saying, hey, here's the new pack. And they showed it the officers. We were so excited for these new packs. But they didn't just, it wasn't just the new officers. They took the existing faction recruit pack and added 10 new officers to it and then said, here you go. And that was a huge mistake. If they had left it and it was just the new officers, people would actually be considering spending these recruits on it. But they're not going to waste their money buying recruits or buying these, faction credits to convert to these recruit packs to get officer shards of officers that they've already maxed out. It was a huge miss, and they still haven't fixed it. Tactical mandates is garbage that double into garbage. Well, that's a thing too. Is more garbage greater than less garbage? Well, Lightning Hawk, you can finally have 3 ships at once. Well, hey, congratulations on that. Pretend what exists? Exactly. Exactly. Don't even know what screen they're on. I forgot all about them already. But tell your friends to forget about them too. Post it in your Alliance Discords. Be like, don't buy this Prime. I want this to be the lowest selling Prime in the history of the game. I want this to be sell fewer copies of it than the Assault boosters. That's how bad I want this Prime to tank. So they remove it and just make the pack what it should have been 6 months ago when they told us about it on their little roadmap announcement about, hey, here's what's coming. And we got all excited. And they got our hopes up and then they smashed them. And anywho, I'm going to finish up getting my... Oh, what's over here? Did I finish up getting my Talos blueprints? Do I have to go back? Oh, I have to go over here and kill this guy now. I'm going to get my 50 Talos blueprints. Should have been a free-to-play grindable, maybe with a small amount of 4-star materials. Again, we don't know what they're going to sell it for because is it in the web store now? I didn't look for it, but I know there's an event next week for it, so I would assume they weren't releasing it prior to the event because that would also tick people off if they buy it now and then like, hey, there's an event for it next week. And you're like, well, what if I already have it? It's like, sorry. But I didn't even think to check to see if it's actually in the web store, to see if it's been released yet. Now that I'm on the web store, I can see me again. Hi. Hello, everyone on the web store. How are you guys all doing? I'm just waving in case anybody's looking. So let's go to the store and let's see if it's even here yet. This is the Talios, Prime Inert Nanoprobes, Rhodinium Particles. Oh, the Vidar special. You can unlock and or upgrade a Vidar. Solo Armada packs, Mega Cubes. I don't think it's here. Oh, the ship blueprints are out. Okay, well those are in there too. If you want to spend $400 on a Gladius, you can. Or $1,300 on a Pilum or a Coronar or a Newton. Somebody asked me earlier about a Newton, if they were thinking about getting it. I forget who that was. There's the different cloakings. Lots of cloakings available for purchase, and then we get into the gifts. So no, it hasn't been released yet, thankfully. So it'll probably be released next week when the event actually launches for it, so nobody accidentally buys it early before the event and screws up their scoring and then has to submit tickets. So we won't see that yet. But when it does come out, start telling your friends now. Start telling your people in your alliances and things like that not to buy this Prime. Tank it. Tank it hard. I want to see a big fat 0 on their scoreboard. I want to see them sitting there watching. All right, guys, we released a new Prime. Let's see how many we sell. And I just want to keep them sitting there, just imagining them sitting around their little boardroom looking at the monitor on the screen, up on the wall going, is this thing working? Is this connected? Like, why is it still showing 0? Like, that's the kind of impact I want this to have. I want this to be a big fat 0. 0 sold. Number of units sold, 0. Do you want to check to hit refresh? Maybe something's not scoring right. Is it plugged in? Let's check the cable. Make sure it's plugged in. What's going on here, guys? I thought you said this thing was good. That's what I want. I want a big fat 0. They have adapted has been finished. There's my 50 Talios blueprints for free. Oh yeah, supervillain. That's supervillain mode for sure. I'm sure there's people who will buy it because they buy everything. But honestly, hopefully nobody is actually even converting the pack, so they won't need to buy the Prime because they're just going to be like, well, I'm not even using that pack anyway, and I don't think I'm going to if this makes it any better. But you're right. Sadly, there are people out there who they have to have everything. So they'll buy it for something. Or maybe they'll find a way to justify it. Maybe it'll only be like a $20 Prime, and they'll be like, well, for $20, I'll take a chance that maybe it'll improve those outputs of those things. But it just really makes me angry. It really does. Let's go to this mission, since this guy can actually do it. Let me just swap in Uhura here. And since I only have to kill a half a dozen things with this account, let's just go up here, find one of these systems, and we'll go knock that out real quick. Yeah, and that's the thing too, because it's a solo milestone, people are going to justify buying it because they're not buying it for the Prime, they're buying it to complete the event. And whatever the event rewards are what they're really going to justify paying the cost for. If there was no event tied to it and it just came out, it definitely would tank pretty hard. But if they're going to put an event out to it and they're going to give out, whatever the case may be, it might be 50 Dabo pulls. And they're like, well, 50 Dabo pulls, what can I do with that? Well, 50 Dabo pulls is going to get me, 100 of this. That's that 5,000 ore. Well, 5,000 ore for $50 is really what I'm buying here. So, all right, maybe that's not so bad. Maybe that's worth it. And maybe I'll get some officer shards out of it too, or some extra latinum. So I'm sure it's going to sell some, dependent on what the reward is. Probably going to be event store currency. I guess it's going to have to depend on how much it is. Because if it's like, some of these other events here where it's like, what are we getting for buying this early? You get a frame and 125. I mean, it's not like you're getting a big chunk of stuff here. But even for winning this event, you get 2,400. That's 24 extra pulls. If it's something like that where it's 20 pulls, maybe people are just like, it's not really worth it. If it's $20 to buy it or $50 to buy it for 25 or 30 extra pulls, and the Prime comes with extra resources that you don't need, because all the Prime actually takes to use is the new material. It's just this new material. So if it comes with this plus, 4-star, 5-star mats, whatever your level is based on your ops level, like some of the Primes do, people are going to justify spending the money on it because they're really just buying the other stuff that comes with it. They have no interest in the Prime. They're not going to open the extra elite recruit packs. They just want the stuff that goes along with having it. So I'm sure that'll happen. You're waiting for DJ's rant about it. He held off this morning, but I feel it coming. I mean, we all agree. It's one of the few things that all the content creators that I've talked to about it or seen talk about this agree completely. And the day it was released, I made probably the most negative video I've made in the 2.5 years, coming up on 3 years now. 2.5 years, now 2 3/4 that I've been making content for this game. Most of my videos have been pretty explanatory, pretty positive. Here's things that you can do to work around stuff. The video I made about when those were released, it was just so full of rage. And I was trying to keep it in, trying to keep it professional and, PG rated. But man, whew. When I was explaining it to people in person, the number of F-bombs that got dropped in that conversation would have given me an R rating for sure. At some point, the Prime packs are better for the mats than the actual ones. Yep. Yep. And that is the case, that people do buy the Primes for the extra stuff more often than and they know that too. They're selling the Prime, but you're getting the other stuff that goes with it. And that's really what enough people are justifying spending the money on. Because, well, I'm getting the materials too. Like, maybe the Prime helps, maybe it doesn't. But at this price point, this other stuff is also really good. So but that's what I'm hoping for. I'm just hoping that one does not do well. Because it'll benefit everybody else in the long run if it doesn't. If it doesn't do really well, they'll be like, well, apparently we can't monetize this. And if, as long as they feel like they can still get money out of something, they don't really have the incentive to then give it away. When they stop getting money for something and nobody's buying it, then they're like, well, let's just repackage it and give it to the players for free, and then they'll think we're really nice. It's like, yeah, you're only giving it, you're giving us the thing you can't sell. It's like when they're like, well, this ground meat expires in about 20 minutes. Here you go. Yeah, Merry Christmas. Have this on us. Go home, make yourself a nice dinner. It's like, well, yeah, because the expiration date on it is today, and as a store, you can't sell it after today. So you're just going to give it on away. For goodwill. Absolutely. Absolutely. Build up some of that goodwill. That'll be part of the 5th anniversary gift giveaway. Next November. 5th anniversary. Just for that, we're giving everyone their choice of one Prime. And here's the 5 Primes that you can choose from. For free. And I guarantee you that one will be in there. And it'll be the 5 ones that one, the assault damage booster, and, some of the other ones that just, the away team, extra away team slot. That'll be what they're giving away. Oh, nice. That crashed again. I mean, hell, they were giving us our choice of Gary Mitchell, for crying out loud. What? Pick any epic officer you want out of this list. Here's Gary Mitchell. I don't even think the actor who played Gary Mitchell would have picked Gary Mitchell if you were given those choices. You have 30 other people you can choose from. Or Gary Mitchell. Even Gary's not picking himself in that pool. Too bad they didn't give him the godlike powers from the show. That would have made him more useful, I guess. As of right now, he's pretty much primarily only away team related. I've never really seen anybody use him. I couldn't even tell you what his abilities are for his office. Oh, hey, that's a traitor. We got one of these on our last stream. I haven't hit one of these in a while, and now here we are 2 streams in a row. Getting a Ferengi. My luckity ding dong day. Do you need to rewatch all this Star Trek shows and pay attention to background characters? I feel like he was only in 1 or 2 episodes, I think, of the original. I think it was the original series too, right? He might have been in the Kelvin movie, the Khan movie, but I don't even think he makes much of an appearance in that. But maybe he may not even be in that one. Some players are upset the new probe systems do not have traitors. Yeah, I was wondering about that. I hadn't seen any spawn in them, and it seemed like that was going to be a thing. Maybe it'll be something that gets added someday. Maybe that'll be a thing that we complain about enough until they put them in there. Especially if they're going to, rotate out or power creep out these systems. Well, what am I going to do? I'm going to come in here and I'm going to waste a token solely for the purpose of killing a traitor? Although that mechanic by itself is also sort of becoming a bit outdated, because for the most part, you're going into 3-star lucrative systems for the most part with that. And since they want more of the game moving into the 40s level-wise, now you're talking about, phasing out most of the G3 economy anyway. So why do you still need these Ferengi traders to get access to these 3-star lucrative systems when you're not really even mining 3-star materials anymore? Yeah, exactly, Olympus. It's 3-star, it's regular Latinum. Well, half the people don't even have regular Devores anymore because they scrapped them for their Fuchsia. And they haven't leveled up a second one or anything yet, so. But, alright, so we finish up today's event. I get my 400 assimilation credits. And let's go over here so we can get completely shafted again. Ready, go. Davo! 1 officer shard. 0 Latinum. Bravo. Bravo. 1 rare officer shard. 0 Latinum. That's why you need to open 50 of these things, so you can get like 5 or 10 officer shards. For officers that don't have any other sourcing mechanics. Yeah, I remember this. I remember not unlocking a couple of the Ferengi officers for till month 2 or month 3. And I have a feeling that some of these Borg officers, you're not going to unlock this month. You're not going to unlock the Queen. unless you buy additional officer shards. And you're probably not going to unlock both of the rares. Maybe you'll get one of the two rares, but you're probably not going to get both. You might not get either of them. You might get like 2/3 of both of them and not even unlock either one of them through this mechanic. And since there is no second month, Dabo is a 2-month thing. So when you didn't get Arok or Fez in month number 1, you at least still had a chance of getting him in month number 2. Maybe we'll see something else in March. Maybe we'll see it again. A Luck of the Irish kind of thing. Maybe they'll get added to the Borg refinery. Are they in there? They have sourcing inside the expansion queue box in the Borg refinery. Okay, so they did add them to the new one. That was going to be my other question, because I haven't looked at it yet, because you can't see in there until you build the Talos. So until you build the actual ship, your refinery doesn't change. So you can't... Oh, maybe you can. Okay, you can see this one. I was wrong. You get extra nanoprobes. Yay! And then Dizak and the Queen are in here, but the other guy isn't. Why are only 2 of them in here? Where's the third guy? Again, very slow sourcing. But where's the third guy? So how do we get Gasa? Is it a higher level thing? Maybe. They should have an equivalent of the Ferengi traders for the new systems. Maybe that'll be a thing that they do add for sure. Yeah. Did you miss me talking about the officers, the new officers? I did not talk about these new officers yet. Maybe that'll be the last thing we go over and wrap it up. We'll kind of try and end on a high note. But we don't have sourcing for the third guy? Because again, I don't know if he's in a different refinery for the new ship. But it looks like we only get the source. Maybe you have to tier the ship up higher, maybe because obviously this changes. As you tier up the ship, the cost is going to go up. Maybe there's additional sourcing with the higher tiers. Or maybe they forgot to put him in. Maybe it's an ops level thing. Let's look on this one. Again, should still be tied to the same ship. These should be the same. They are the same. These are exactly the same on different ops accounts. Okay, good. At tier 1, he's not in that box. Yeah. Oh, at tier 1. So you have at tier 1, he's also not in there. So either they didn't put him in, and the only way to get our new guy, Gasa, here, is through the lucky pulls from the event store, who I seem to be getting more of than the other officers. He also seems to take the fewest amount of shards to source, so he costs less. Maybe that's why he's not in the other pack, because I guess they seem, and I've seemed to have so far pulled more of him than the other two. That maybe that's part of their sourcing, is that you're expected to be able to get him through the Dabo, and then the other two you'll get through the other means. But how are you going to tier these people up in the future is going to be a thing. So to end on a high note, the stream would have ended when you said good evening, everyone. It hasn't been completely negative. There's been some things we've talked about that have been decent and good adjustments to the game. You know, there were some things there that obviously we weren't happy about. We didn't ask for the emotes. We didn't, the new Prime, we certainly don't like that. The new ship, it seems okay. It seems expensive, but, it seems okay. The new systems are good. Once you get the ship up and going a little bit, that might cut down on your grind time a little bit. But then again, also, if the cost of your refinery goes up, How many more nanoprobes do you need? And are we just, we swapped out a Franklin for a Franklin A, but we don't get the 3 times bonus for the kills? It's not quite a 3 times trade. Maybe it will be as the ship tiers up more. I haven't seen the final numbers on that refinery. I know people are still working on their charts. I'm sure we'll see those out in the next couple of days, so we can actually take a look at what the cost is going to be like and what you're going to need to farm on a regular basis in order to do your turn-ins and get the things that you want to get out of the daily refineries. We'll see how that plays out over the course of the month. I'm sure they're hoping that that will encourage people to sell more of the double prime for getting the double nanoprobes, the charged nanoprobes for the refinery. So instead of whatever you normally get, you'll get double the amount out of that. The new ship is great that we're getting it free to play. Absolutely. You don't have to scrap your old ship. You get to keep your Vidar, and you just get the new ship for free over the course of a week, if you're one of the 6% of active people who have a Tier 9 Vidar. Now, I'm sure that number did go up after it was sort of like last month, where it was like, hey, to really engage, you need a Tier 9 Vidar. I'm sure people like myself on this free-to-play account were trying to do the work to catch up. And over the next couple of weeks, I'm sure we'll see more people reach that Tier 9 Vidar, get access to the missions, get the Talios for free. Humble Protector, first time chatter, welcome on into the show. The emotes are a cool addition. Might be one of the first people I've heard say that, so thank you for voicing that opinion. STFC community can't find enough things to complain about. We can find lots of things to complain about. We're good at that. But you're right. There are people who just like to complain about everything. They don't like any decision Scopely makes. So anything they do, 99% of the things they do, they're going to find a reason to complain about. Oh, you gave us all this, but you could have given us more. You gave us this for free. Oh, you gave us this oopsie chest that had 45 days worth of Why didn't you make it, it was only 40 days. Why didn't you make it like an even like 60 days so we could have gotten 2 months worth of free stuff? Yes, there's always going to be people who have that type of attitude, of course. Of course. But there are also plenty of people on the other side of that fence. We complain about stuff because we care about the game and we care about it being around for a long period of time, and we just want it to continue and to be better than it has been and could be. We see so much potential in it, and we see them consistently fail to live up to that potential, that we're just consistently disappointed. So there's a lot going on there. The Queen can be bought at some point, so spenders will not have to do this Borg loop. Well, probably. Probably. Rev telling people to quit the game today. Well, that's he. He's got his own stuff going on, and that obviously boiled over a little bit today, um, where he was talking, and people who were just coming in and just sort of trashing everything already, and he was like, "Look, if you're this unhappy about it, go quit, go do something else, because you recognize a lot of the same names in your streams and things like that, and if you've been listening to somebody." All they do is come into your streams, and all they do is say very negative things for 6 months or a year. It's like, why are you still playing? If all you do is say hurtful things, like this company doesn't know what they're doing, this mechanic sucks, this arc sucks, this sucks, this sucks. It's like, but you're still here and you're still playing. It's like somebody who like you're okay being in like a negative relationship with somebody, which is really what that is at that point. It's a negative relationship. There's other words for it, but I don't want to get flagged for saying one of them, so we're gonna talk around that. Um, but yeah, it's a negative relationship that you have with the creators of and the company that runs the game, and if you're that unhappy, then you need to move on to something else that is making you happy. And yes, he was a little frustrated and fed up. Again, he's got other stuff going on in his life that did kind of boil over a little bit. And he did apologize for it later, for the way he said it. The message is still the same, where if you're not enjoying something, why do you continue to do it? It's not like people who, like, I have a job, but I hate my job, but I have to go because it's the only thing I can find or the only thing that pays me enough for all the bills and stuff I have, so I have to just suck it up and grin and bear it every day. This is a game. You don't have to be here playing this game, you know? Games are meant to be fun. If you're not having fun, you need to find a different game. And with that, 75 people all sign off now. So, at least we're consistent, yeah. Nuts get so tired of the crybabies and the attention they get. Easy games are not fun. They get boring. Yeah, that's true. That was in his live stream today. People were coming into his live stream and they were just trashing all the new mechanics. This sucks. This sucks. I hate this. And he was like, then why are you still here? You know? So he kind of, he clapped back a little bit, I guess is the expression that the kids use these days. Gotta take the good with the bad, sure. Has to have a good element. Yep, we want them to make a better product, and we try to give them feedback on how they can make a better product. Sometimes they get the message and they make adjustments to things and we get things that are improved. And sometimes they hear the message and they think to themselves, so what they're really saying is that for $99 they'd be willing to buy something that'll make their life easier. And then we kind of roll our eyes a little bit, and then some people still buy it anyway, which kind of reinforces their opinion that, yep, we were right. We that was an opportunity for us to make something that they would buy, and they did. And then occasionally they come out with just random things that you're like, I don't even know where this came from. This wasn't even an idea we talked about or pitched about. And yeah, sometimes it just falls flat. So you enjoy the mechanics very much, but they're making it difficult to keep up with everything. They are making it, as part of the power creep with the game, and you add new loops and new mechanics and new features because they have to keep coming out with new features every month. New content equals new features, equals new loops and new things that, if you want to keep up with things, the amount of time you have to invest on a daily basis or even a weekly basis, because some of the things you can do and stock up on, like you can go data mining for 2 or 3 hours and you can stock up for a week. You can go kill eclipse hostiles and stock up make 2 or 3 runs, load up your cargo, and you're good for the week for your refines. But the amount of screen time required over the course of a week, it's a lot to do everything. And to do all those extra refines and things like that to keep up with those mechanics, so you can keep scrapping your Stellas to get those extra researches done, so you can keep doing your data mining, so you can get your officer shards to max out those officers, or because you want the transporter pattern so you can max out other officers, or to use as sourcing to get independent credits, because that hasn't been very good. Their goal this year is to reduce our screen time by cutting out some of these older loops. We're only 6 weeks into the year. We're going to have to give them some more time and see how this plays out. But if it's like June and our screen time is still the same or higher, because again, now we're doing more things, then we're going to have to chalk that up as a big fat failure. But we do have to give them a little bit of time here to see how their plan shakes out. They did say it was going to unfold in stages. So we got to give them a little time. Trust the process, right? Trust the process. Erotka says that this patch is really nice for free-to-play relative to old patches because you're getting a free ship, and that can't be underestimated. It's not even like they put it in. They didn't even put half of it in the battle pass. Like that would be something Scopely would typically have done in previous months. If you wanted this new ship, they would have like put 50 of the blueprints like they did with the Mantis or the Cerritos. 50 of the blueprints would have been sitting here in the last milestone. And you'd be like, well, if I want to get it, I can get half of it through the mission, but I have to spend 20 bucks and buy the battle pass to get the rest of it. Or I have to wait the whole month, in which case I'm going to miss some of the events. So either now I have to buy half the ship now, and then I'm stuck with an extra half that I don't want, or I have to buy a points pack so that way I finish the battle pass sooner, so that way I can get this while there's still events going on throughout the month. That would have been something that they have done in previous months that they easily could have replicated here again, and they didn't. So we have to give them credit for that one. I will give them a high five for that one. You know, giving the ship away essentially for free to people who are patient enough to wait 8 days, maybe not even 8, maybe 7. That one deserves some high fives. So you would think after months of talking about assaults, someone would figure out it was going to be a failure. Well, that's the other thing too, is that because some of these events come out, they start planning this stuff 4 to 6 months in advance, because it takes them that long to come up with a philosophy and work it all out, and then actually start doing the coding and everything to get it all in, and then do some of their own in-house beta testing, and then push it out to the app stores and all those kinds of things. So like, you know, their team right now is probably working on the arc for like May and June. Like for the most part, they've got their idea set in stone for this month that's going on now. March is probably already you know stamped and approved, and they're just putting on the finishing touches to it. And April is probably like, all right, this is our idea, this is what we want to do. Technology wise, what do we need to do to make that happen? And they're working on the coding and stuff for it already. Like that's how their lead time is like 3 to 4 months on stuff. So if they start dropping the hints like, hey, we got this thing about assaults coming, like it's already like 90% done by the time they're even dropping those hints. So you can't just quite pull the plug on a feature because they feel like, well, we've already got this arc built around this, and we've already got all this work that we've already done on it for the last 12 weeks. So even though it might fall flat, we're still going to push it out, and we're just going to hope that we're wrong. So they did with the original. The original Vidar 3 years ago was free to play through a series of events as well. Yep. And for those who missed it, there were events the following month or two. That's when I came in. I started playing the month the Borg arc launched. I was not able to get the Vidar. I wasn't able to do any of the events and stuff like that. I was still too low level. But the following month, there was an event that was still running that I got the Vidar for free, but basically upgrading my base. When I got to 24, I upgraded my base from like 24 to 25, and I got half the blueprints. And then I had to upgrade every other building in my base over the course of like a week to go from 25 to 26 to get the other half. And then I was like, okay, crap. Now I'm kind of broke. Hey, Just Q, thank you very much for the bits, and hopefully you've been here listening. But welcome on in if you're just getting here. Can the new ship be acquired by newer players? Yes, if you're brand new to the game, that new ship will eventually, when you get to Ops level 35 and you get your original Vidar to tier 9, it will unlock the mission that will be in the holodeck that you will be able to claim, and you will be able to get the new Talios at that point in time. It's probably going to take you a while because there's a lot that goes into maxing out the Vidar, and it will be, again, has to be tier 9 to get the mission to unlock and spawn for you. So, but if you put in the work, you will be rewarded with your free Talios, so you don't have to spend money buying it. Andy, a lot of things to do in the game. Yep. Kivo, thank you very much for the follow as well. Welcome on in. There are definitely a lot of outdated mechanics that they could circle back on and do some upgrades to. The whole hijacked ship thing, again, is kind of just a forgotten mechanic. And maybe it's something we'll see again in, another arc or another anthology arc. They'll circle back and they'll be like, hey, remember this stuff that we were doing? And we kind of forgot all about it. Or, hey, remember all those Mud Crew people and we had the stuff? Like, maybe we can circle back about that. Why are these 3 systems out here that are level 30? Like, what was supposed to be the follow-up? What is supposed to go on here? Because there's like 1 or 2 missions that send you all the way out here. But, like, why would they send you all the way out to these that are just level 30 systems that you have to go through 36s and 40s to get to kill weaker stuff? It's like, what's the warp range on this? Yeah, I don't know. I can't find it right now. Let's switch to a smaller ship and find out. I'm assuming it's probably about the same, but let's take... Here we go. Let's take one of these guys. A Fortunate. So Penumbra here is warp 24, which isn't bad. These are also warp 24. So the warp range on them is the same to get to all these things. But it's like, what's going on out here? What was this supposed to be? Like, what was this a placeholder for? Other than 1 or 2 random missions that we didn't end up doing a whole lot with afterwards. So it could be something that could be built, repackaged, resurfaced, given a little facelift. Same thing we could do down here with some of this augment stuff, kind of give it a bit of a facelift to make it relevant again. Q, your head is spinning with all this new stuff. There's a lot of new stuff today. There is a lot of new stuff today. So far, it seems like this month we didn't really, we got a new currency related to the new Borg arc, but that's about it. We got a new the new expansion cube directives, and then the loot that they give out as a result of that. Just Q asks, does anyone know if we get the second 50 blueprints to build the Talios before the SMS Heroic event ends? Absolutely not. If you want to complete the SMS Heroic event and get your badge and your 125,000 charged nanoprobes, you have to buy the other half of the blueprints to do it. The milestone on this ends in 6 days. 5.5 days now at this point. So this is going to end Monday at event reset, and the mission for the second half of the Talios will most likely be added next Tuesday. See you next Tuesday. That's what we're looking at there. Make augments great again. There, okay, there you go. Jimmy Jams, you got 4 million nanoprobes today, and you're not done yet. Well, yeah, because the higher level players did get shafted on this Strength is Irrelevant event. That is why there will be a repeat event run again tomorrow. Completely 100% free. Extra bonus event. If you were able to finish today's event, congratulations, you get some bonus loot. If you were not able to finish it, well, you should be able to finish the one tomorrow. Hopefully. Oh, Officer XP. I would have upgraded that sooner. Oh, you're welcome for the answer. Thank you very much for the bits. Gladly pay you Tuesday for a Talios today. Oh, there you go. But, all right. Let's Let's push out the 12-hour shield. Let's shut this down. And then, yeah, if we're looking at, you know, how many kills would I even have to get to even get to this first milestone? Like, what does 30 get me? Nothing, because you need 100 to do anything. So I realistically have to get to the second milestone to at least get one more thing. So then I have to ask myself, well, how many nanoprobes did I want anyway? Like, did I really want to stock up on them? Because now would be a good time to do it, I guess, right? So how many, what do I got to kill? Is that 100 or is that 1,000? Where's my trusty calculator? 24,370,000. I kill 33s. That's about 1,000 kills. That's a ridiculous amount of kills. And I can cut that down a bit by doing those instead. So we'll call that, divide this by 2.5. I can cut it down to about 390 kills. But if I only get 26 per trip, now we're talking about 12 plus trips. Do I even have enough stupid, whatchamacallits, transwarp tokens to make that many trips? Probably not. I guess the only way to do it would be to do a research. I'd have to do like a triple pull or something and then spend the charged nanoprobes on research tomorrow morning would be what I would have to do. And this system is just crawling with players right now. Do I want to give up below deck spots to put those people in? Maybe. Because I wasn't having an issue necessarily with that anyway, so maybe we'll try and get some more extra loot out of it. Yeah, might have to just do the research to try and pick up some points. But I'm going to have to do like a triple pull to do it, so maybe I'll go here and do one or two of these and see how it goes, and then probably have to rank down to 33s just to make sure I have enough to do a triple refine and to do the research. You did a triple pull, got the solar directives, don't have enough for any of the research. Yeah, you would have to not do the research. How many can you kill with a pylum? Haven't tried. I have not tried. I would assume probably not many. Because that 23 million strength. This guy flew a disco. Yeah, maybe I could fly a Cerritos in, right? And buff. Spend a token and bring a Cerritos in and buff up a ship. So. Yeah, higher levels are getting run over just because of the point totals. You know, my Ops 36 account, I had to do 7 kills. I killed 7 33s and I was done. And on this particular event, I would have to kill, like, what did we say before, like 6,000? Or something crazy to finish this. Because for the higher levels, they're just assuming that if you're a higher level player, you're going to buy the new ship and you're going to tier it up, and then you're going to spend the nanoprobes upgrading the new ship, and that's how you're going to finish the event. That's just what they assumed, was that that the higher level players are just going to spend the money and buy the other half of the ship and not wait a week if they want to finish these events. And that does not seem like that's going to be the case. So, but let's see if anybody else is on right now. It does not look like it. We've got 1 or 2 sponsored streams going, but I think that's about it. All right then, well. Can I show on screen where the new Borg systems are? They are to the south, or to the west of the augment space. If you pick up the new mission out of the holodeck, it sends you to this Adola system, which is how it helps you find where the new systems are. So they're all over here. Deathkill, you're looking for the new cubes. The new cubes are attached to the systems where the solo armadas are. So if anywhere you see a solo armada and you see the green clouds, there's a system off the back of one of them that has the expansion cubes in it. So you've got your solo armadas right here, and then you go out the back door, and there is where your expansion cubes are. They attached them to the systems because you need to do the solo armadas to get the debuff for the Talios, so then the Talios can, disable the extra quantum torpedo things that will completely destroy you if you don't have them active when you're trying to do the new expansion cubes. If you don't have the new debuff, apparently these things are just going to just steamroll you. Yeah, and they do stack. So if you've got 5 people in the Alliance, all in the Armada, all 5 people should do a solo Armada first, and then those people should then all go do, the follow-up Armada together afterwards. You had that buff earlier, wasn't wondering what it was. Yeah. Yep. So you're going to need multiple people with the Talios. It's going to have to be like a pre-planned group. Okay, we're going to go do this. Okay, everybody go do your solo Armada. Knock that out. Then we'll move over here. Everybody quick repair or whatever you got to do. And then come on over here. And then, you'll have an hour. The buff is good for an hour. So hopefully that means you can run, 2 or 3 cubes during that time. Or you might have to disco and summon some people back and forth to make sure you get there on time. Oh, hang on. That one took a little more shield health than I thought. Sometimes that's the downside to having Una as well, too. You move too quickly between ships. You end up losing a little extra hull health. You don't lose the buff when you dock? I don't know about that. I would have to imagine it would be really bad if you did. Because how else are you going to repair? Solo Armada and then not repair? Or you don't use the Talios in the Solo Armada? You get the buff from your other 3 ships and then the Talios joins the thing? What good is having it for an hour then if you lose it when you go back to repair? Or you get blown up? I guess we'll find out when people start doing the first Armadas which way it exactly works, but it would seem to be far less useful and valuable if it's basically like a one-shot deal. What if you fail? What if you attack the Armada and you die? You don't get a second try? You got to go run another solo Armada to get your buff back to then come back again? That's not very good. Is it a buff on the ship or an auto exo? That I haven't seen. Not sure. Repairing and switching crew is required if you have to use the tally in a solo. That's also true too, I guess. So those are all questions that we will have to answer another day. Maybe we'll have some more answers by Thursday, which is when I will be back online. But we are going to call things here and wrap things up. I don't have anybody to raid out, unfortunately, because it doesn't seem like there's really anybody else doing anything that's really going on right now. So instead, we are just going to wrap up our stream tonight. Say thank you all very much for being here. Thank you to all of the new viewers and followers. Hopefully you guys have had some fun going through all of the new mechanics with me. I'll be back here Thursday evening again. We'll see what else is going on and what we can talk about then. But until then, see you around the galaxy.